Hello everybody and welcome to this playthrough for Rookie Division in the Christmas Links tournament sponsored by Golf Clash and Pelademic. So we start off with hole number 1. Here we can go for the green. And we should be going for the green with basically any type of wind here except for having like a headwind. Because headwind, then we need to bounce on the first, like on the island there amongst the water, but with some slight tailwind here or even crosswind, depending on of course the distance of your driver, then we can try go for the green. I'm using a power 3 ball just for that matter, so we actually can go for the green directly. You can see put myself up with a 4.5 bar topspin combined with as much side spin to the right, combined with a little curl to the right as well, and then we are very close to the pin, and that should be an eagle. Before we ship it in for an eagle, you can see like Santa has shaved, it was itchy. And also check down in the video description down below for direct timestamp for the holes in this playthrough. All of these holes are new and you can find them on tour number 5, the World Links. If you do want to have a training session with me one-to-one when I'm helping you be a better player in the game, or you maybe want to update the text guides that arrives early Wednesday during the tournament week with pinpointed information on how to get you as close as possible and of course a good score as possible, check out patreon.com/golfclashtommy. So we ship it in for an eagle, going to be happy. Again, power 3 ball necessary. 10% extra is needed to add due to the slight downhill approach we're having with our drive. But in the end, you can also play with a power 5 ball, then you need to go with less overpower. But there isn't that many rookies that you have some packs of berserkers or stuff like that. But if you were lucky to win some in the golden shot, then you could use one. That would be my suggestion. Hole number 2, par 3. And now I'm going to play with a wood club, and you can see I'm having a power 3 ball. It's not necessary to have that, and I'm saying it because when you play these holes on tour 5, you're sometimes going to play a par 5 before and you play with a power 3 ball. Then you go into the shootout, you need to of course play with the same ball. But I would be playing here with a mauling, almost a basic ball. We should just aiming straight at the pin, adding 15% extra in elevation. As for this hole is slightly more downhill and the rest, especially the part that we are aiming for there. We hit it great, and this is going to put ourselves to the right side of the pin, but in the end with the 3 bars of backspin, no problem whatsoever to make that pot. So this is a fairly bad shot in the end in a shootout, but it do gets into the situation where I want to like the thing that I do want to address, that this is a very easy par 3 where we do have a lot of room for error. We can hit great left, great right, we can come in hot, we're still going to have a fairly decent and easy putt on the green. If you do want to miss or you do feel uncomfortable with the right side that do have a little bit of water and the rocks there, then we can play a left side as our opponent. Let the ball use the left side of the green to fall down towards the pin for a very easy putt again. In the end, a very easy par 3 that should be at least a birdie, I would say. Aim straight at the pin, 15% extra, then we are there. Hole number 3. Par 5, which we're going to add 10% extra here as well. And when I'm saying adding, it means that we're going to play with we're going to add more to our adjustment. Let's say we have 6.3 as we're having now. Then we're going to picture ourselves the wind being 10% higher, which in that case would put us around 7 miles per hour. And then we adjust for wind when we do have that number instead. Max curl, max topspin, max side spin to the right. I'm having only 4.5 bar topspin on the extra mile, and that's why I'm saying max. I don't want you to go more than with like a 4 or 5 bars of topspin if you're not having more curl on your driver. The extra mile level 5 here only has around 45 in curl, and that is not much. And we do want to use the right side as an approach because the left side is going to be so dependent on how close you are on the top. But if you do want to play left side, we are not going to add 10% here. We're just going to play it as it is. As it looks slightly uphill, but the numbers works better when we just play it as it is. And if we can get as close to the rough there on top as our opponent, then that is absolutely perfect. Because the lower down we are on the fairway, the harder it's going to be for us to reach for the pin. And we're also going to have 2 bunkers in play. Now playing on the right side, we're only going to have 1. And we're going to have a lot of space to the right side of that bunker to, in this case, get the ball to the green and make it stop. I'm using 1 bar of backspin. Here you can see I'm using a Viper and still having my power 3 ball. I would be so much better out with a big dog that gives us more distance, or at least take the wood club with as much yards in power as possible, so we can stay away from as much overpower, because we do not want to play with that much overpower. But the problem when you play in rookie is of course that you play it with lower level clubs, and that is going to be a slight disadvantage for you, as you in some cases on these par 5s in this tournament that are going to be very long, that if you don't have the big dog, if you don't have the horizon, and you are stuck with a Viper, for an example, like we are here, then we're going to have to overpower. You can see there I was actually coming in a little bit hot, and I would like to come in more hot than short, because we can use the back of the green, let the ball stop and fall back down towards the pin there for a very safe eagle. Be happy with an eagle on this par 5, because it is a par 5 where many players is going to mess up their drive. If you play left, if you play right, doesn't really matter, but I would play right side and play myself up to that spot there to have a more easier second shot. But if you do not want to take that risk, play left side, but then you need to have in mind that you most likely have to bounce in between the bunkers with some overpower, which in that case for the second shot is going to be much tougher than playing right side. Now we go to the second par 3, hole number 4, and now I'm going to play this one with 3 bars of side spin to the right with 1 bar of backspin. And you can see here I'm aiming, so I'm having the red ring just by the rough on the right. Playing the backbone with a power 3 ball, because I came in the shootout with a power 3 ball from the regular hole. Now I'm going to adjust without curl, and in this case we hit it great, which is going to put us more to the left, which is a bummer. But we also add 10% extra to our adjustment, because we're playing this one slightly downhill. The thing that I would like to change here is only one thing. Of course, hit the ball perfect, but I would change and go with max side spin to the right with a side spin 2 ball, which is in this case 4.5 bar side spin to the right. Just so we in that case go at the pin. 3 bars of side spin to the right was a little bit too much conservative. We do have a lot of room after the water there. If we do have the wind that we're having now, very low wind, 1 bar of backspin as a general one. If we do have like 3, 4, 5 miles per hour headwind, we go without backspin. If we do have tailwind, we go with 2. If we do have crosswind, we still go with 1. That's the backspin approach, and always side spin to the right. If we do have wind right to left, I would prefer playing on the right side of those islands, the one on the top right, just because we don't have to then go and adjust down into the water. But in many of the cases we're going to play left side, and that's the side we're going to be most focused on. Hole number 5, another par 5, which is going to be very tricky. Here we do get kind of fooled again of a very open and very wide fairway on the right, which is going to we are going to hit that one in our sleep. But the problem going right is that we're going to have the obstacle directly in our face, and you're going to see that when our opponent is taking her shot. Now I'm going to play left side, putting myself up as close to the top there as possible, using 1 bar of topspin, max side spin to the left, because the ball is slightly pushed to the right, as you can see with the ball guideline. Then we're going to adjust for max and numbers with 10% extra. Very important, because we're playing this one downhill. You can see I'm bouncing over the bunker, putting myself up nicely here. 1 bar of topspin is going to be enough when we do have some headwind. If we do have some tailwind, 1 bar of backspin. If we do have crosswind, we go without backspin or backspin or topspin for our drive. So important to not go short and not go long, and that's the hard part with hole number 5. You can see here our opponent mixing a little bit with the landing position, but decides to go on the right side. And that is going to be so much easier than playing on the left side, but the second shot is going to be so much harder. And then in the end, we need to choose the left side to put ourselves in a way where we're going to have a fairly decent approach towards the green, at least not towards the pin, but at least to the green, and secure the eagle. All the par 5s in this tournament is going to be very long, and we're going to see very few albatrosses. We're going to see more birdies than we are going to see albatrosses, in my opinion. That's why an eagle, or at least find a way to secure getting the eagle, is going to be so important. 1.5 bar topspin is the most that I'm having with the Viper level 7. With the power 3 ball, you can see that I still have to go with overpower. I'm not even close to the green. But in the end, we don't have that fully developed ball guideline with the Viper, that we cannot go with max overpower from this distance. And you can see here now, I'm going to use a fair amount of overpower, like around 50% when going. And now I hit this one kind of massively great. But in the end, we're coming in a little bit hot, but we do find ourselves a way to stay on the fringe and make an easy eagle. And that's again what we're looking for, an easy eagle. I don't really care that we aren't that close to the pin, because you can see here, look at this approach. Even though our opponent would be as close to the rough there as possible, it would still be a very tough shot to do, as you do have the water straight in your face. You do also have the rough on the after that in your face as well. And then you need to go with curl, you need to go with max overpower, and even with wood club with more distance, it's going to be a very, very tricky shot. So the only thing to change, I say it again, not the Viper, play with a wood club with more distance. If you have one, the big dog would be absolutely excellent. So we go in and we're going to go to the second par 4, which is hole number 6. Hole number 6, and here I'm not going to add anything for elevation either. I'm going to use the first piece of fairway in many of the cases to bounce over to the second piece of fairway. And why do I do that and not try to go directly over to the other fairway? It's because I feel that it's a conservative, it's an easy drive, but sure, I could in many cases show a more aggressive line, but in the end then we need to go with overpower, and we need to rely on bouncing ourselves over the next part of the water. So it's important to find a way to show that we're actually kind of a decent approach, even though we play it a little bit more conservative. So here I'm going to go and change. I'm going to play with a basic ball, because I don't need to use more than that. I would prefer to go with a driver with more topspin. I would love to go with a big topper here, for an example, or maybe a more upgraded quarterback with topspin. But the topspin is the thing that is going to decide, because you can see that I'm still only in medium distance of my club, and then I do want to have the topspin here to bounce myself nice and easy over to the next part of the fairway. So at least 4.5 bar of topspin, I would say. If you don't have that, then you will have to do the best out of the situation and try to get over there anyway, because we need to get over at least to the first piece of fairway to have a decent approach towards the pin. And now for the second shot, it looks like we're going to play the shot downhill, but I'm not going to add anything for elevation here either. I'm just going to play it as it is. And here we do have a little platform, I would say. We do have, I don't know if you can spot it on the screen, but you do have this kind of spot exactly here where our opponent is adjusting. There is a little piece of a bumpy area there that I want to aim just before that instead, to have a more flat bounce so we can rely on the ball guideline in a better way. So our opponent in this case hitting the shot perfect. And you can see here the push to the left as aiming down there and just missing the hole to the left side. Now this is a very nice and neat approach, I would have to say. Definitely a possibility to make an eagle here. You can see here what landing position I'm looking for. Here is what I'm looking for. I'm not going to use any backspin, any topspin, or any side spin, of course, because it's a basic ball. And then we're going to adjust for being in maximum distance of our club, which is going to be 4.4 rings with a backbone level 7. And in the end, this is going to be either close or it's going to be in. And that's something that we of course want to look for, a way to be very close when adjusting and going for the hole. So very nice eagle here for hole number 6. And again, I can say it like I've said it for the first par 4, but all the par 4s in this tournament are very, very good opportunities for an eagle. So, and of course, it depends on the wind, if we can go for the green or not on many of them, including hole number 6. That if we do have some tailwind on that one, we can definitely try to go for the green in 1. So we'll see what the game makers is going to give us as wind. So hole number 7, last par 3, and here I'm going to choose the platform depending on the wind, depending on the angle of the wind. If I'm having wind like this, I'm playing right side. If I'm having wind that is pointing straight or coming left to right, then I'm going to play left side. I'm not going to try to go with a curl approach going left side if I'm having wind coming from right to left, because that is going to make me want to adjust down into the water, and that is going to lose track a little bit of my adjustment and make it harder than it should be. We do need to add 10% to our adjustment here to just be spot on. You can see here I'm using this tiny fairway island here with max side spin, which is like 2 and a little bit more than 2 bars of side spin to left, but also in this case I'm using 3 bars of backspin. But now I do forget something, is that I do have some slight headwind, and if we do have some slight headwind, 2 bars of backspin is going to be enough. If we do have crosswind, we're going to go with 3 bars of backspin. If we do have tailwind, we're going to go with 4 bars of backspin if we are playing from the left side. If we're playing from the right side, we're going to be a little bit further down, then we need to reduce a little bit of the backspin, so we do get enough distance to get towards the pin. You can see I'm using approximately 1 bar backspin too much, and that in that case put myself short to the pin, but at least we were straight at it for a safe birdie. Hole number 8, last par 4. Here again we can go for the green. It all comes down to what equipment we are having in terms of club and ball. And our opponent here is going to play with a basic ball, which is going to be tough, as you need to go with some curl, and you don't have that much help with that, because you do need side spin and you do need curl to the left to align yourself straight up towards the pin there. Now this is going to be in the water, and which is of course unfortunate. We are going to play this shot, the drive here, 10% extra as we're playing it downhill, and then the ball is going to be affected a little bit more by the wind. And you can see there, by not having the side spin to the left or curl to the left, then it's going to go in the drink many of the times. Playing with a power 3 ball here, for those of you that do have a bunch of power 5 balls, you can pull out the power 5 ball and drive directly over the water and bounce before the bunker on the second piece of fairway. Now I'm going to have a power 3 ball. I'm going to try to bounce 1 time here on this fairway, 2nd time over the bunker, and put myself up as close to the green as possible. You know what? The best club in this position here, if you do have crosswind or if you do have tailwind, play with the big topper. The big topper has so much topspin that you will be able to stay away from overpower and still have a very good shot to either double bounce it over the sand here or go directly over. Now I do lose some distance here because I hit it a great shot and I just cut the bunker, but even if I did, and even if I would be in the sand for my second shot, I still would be having a very good opportunity to making an eagle there from distance. And this is what I'm talking about when people are asking me for advice if they should go for it or not. We do want to find such a high reward in terms of a risk and reward factor. If the reward is this big as it is, that we don't even have to overpower, and we still need to just hit the ball perfect, I would have to say, or at least be spot on with our adjustment, then we should be trying to go, as the reward of being so close and get an eagle is so high. If we would be having to go with max overpower to get to the spot we are now, if we are lucky, then it's too much risk. compared to the reward that we can get, and then we're not going to go for it. Now, having a wedge, the Firefly, and of course this is a pretty lousy wedge, and missing the eagle here from distance. But in the end, a good approach. And I would say like hole number what will it be? Hole number 1, the first par 4, but also hole number 8 is going to be shots with tailwind. Then we're going to have a must eagle on both of those holes, because it is possible to drive the green in one. Hole number 9, we end up with another very tough par 5. And as for the other par 5s in this tournament, and I like that balance, is that on the par 4s we're going to most likely have opportunities. Par 3s, it's going to be like a 50-50, I would say, if it is a good opportunity or not. Par 5s is going to be that we have to fight hard to get the eagle. And that, of course, is going to make us be necessary to not relax. We need to stay away from the rough here, and we are going to play this drive without anything extra. I'm not adding anything for elevation for the drive here for hole number 9, as we don't have to. I'm going to use a power 3 ball, very important, as not necessarily for the drive itself, more than that we of course need to reach as far as possible, but especially for the second shot, that if we do go and make a short drive, then we're going to have a very tough position if we don't have a power 3 ball or a wood club with a good amount of yards when playing our second shot. So I'm adjusting max distance for my club. The only thing that I do forget to do here is that I would be needed to go back up to max position of my club. I'm using side spin to the right here to bounce myself into the to the right and put myself up there towards the top. But you can see here I'm so far away, and then we need to go with overpower. We do need to use some overpower here. So in tailwind we go with around 20 to 30% of overpower. In crosswind we go around 50 to 75% overpower. In headwind we go in max overpower. And then you maybe wonder why we shouldn't be playing on the right side instead. It's because right side is going to be so much harder, because then you're not going to have such an open fairway towards the pin as we are going to have here playing to the left. Now I'm having the Viper again, wrong club for this situation, but in the end I do have the Viper, so we can't do much about it. The thing that we need to achieve and want to achieve is to go over the rough there in the middle, and that's what I'm looking for here now, using max overpower, side spin, and also 1.5 bar top spin on my club. But if I would be having the big dog, then I wouldn't be having a problem. If I would be playing my drive even a little bit further by using a little bit of overpower and put myself on the fairway, we wouldn't be having any problems with the Viper either. So the drive is the key here, guys, if we should be in a position that we in an easy way would reach for the pin, and possibly if we have the day that we can drop it for an albatross, but at least that we do not have to go with max overpower as I do here with my Viper. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching this playthrough for Rookie Division in the Christmas Links tournament. All these holes that is called the Nordic Fjords you can find on tour number 5, the World Links. You can find them together with the Green Point, which in that case makes it kind of like a 50-50 if you're going to play them or not. And I think when we cannot adjust and we cannot play these holes from the second tee, I think for you that are maybe going to go up to pro, or you may be playing expert, that you take your time and study these holes and maybe playing and getting some advice from them by playing them on tour number 5 from the front tee. If you do have any questions, please let me know in the comment section below, and I will be happy to help you out. These are new holes for everyone, so it's going to be tough, but it's important to have a general guideline when we go in and play, and that is definitely going to give you an advantage over those players that have no clue. Check out patreon.com/goldclashtommy. Sign up to get the updated text guides, where I'm really going to give you detailed information on how to get the balls as close to the pin, but also making as safe drives as possible. Do not forget to subscribe to the channel, and the video here is sponsored by Golf Clash and Playdemic. So Santa say thank you and good luck in the Christmas Links tournament.